possibly fraudulent, possibly, I don't know, just kind of a dick. Be interesting, an interesting fight. I'd love to see that. All right, folks, a lot going on in the fighting world today. A lot of stuff is going down. Some statements from Charles Oliveira about his fight coming up with Ilia in just a few short weeks. We're looking at one of the best fights of the year here, folks, and things just got a bit more interesting today as Charles Oliveira has come out and said that he plans to knock Ilia Topuria out cold in the octagon. Now, he's not, and I'm pretty sure it was a promise. I don't know if I remember that quote wrong. I'll put it up right here.
Essa chegou na oportunidade gigantesca. Vou nocaute esse cara. Essa é ela.
He's gonna knock this guy out.
I'm pretty sure that was a promise that he was going to knock out Ilia Topuria out cold. And you know what? I would love to see it. I personally am rooting for Ilia just because I think the UFC needs a superstar, and Ilia can be that superstar. But you know what? So can Charles Oliveira. I mean, he's pretty much almost been a superstar. To me, he was right at that level for a while, and he's definitely a fan favorite. So we'll see what happens there. I'm really excited for this fight going down, and it's going to be great. Predictions, as of right now, we're a little early, but I personally have Ilia by KO. I was looking at Charles Oliveira's striking defense versus the Michael Chandler fight recently, and I was not very pleased with it. But you never know what can happen. I saw an argument online for Ilia's KOs recently of Max Holloway and Volkanovski being kind of possibly fraudulent. I know that's a crazy thing to say, knocking out Max Holloway and Volkanovski. I think the argument for Volkanovski knockout not being as legitimate is pretty obvious. He just came off of a brutal KO against Islam Makhachev, and immediately jumped back in there with Ilia and got slept. So there's a chance that his chin was looking a little weak. And then the argument for Max Holloway is that he had to cut back down from 155 after building up to a great weight, a great size at 155, and then having to cut back down for his very next fight. And then he went back up to 155, I guess. Is he going back up to 150? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's going back up to 155 and staying at 155. So there is an argument that his chin was a bit weaker in that fight, and that's why Ilia was able to do what no man could before and put him out cold. So there is an argument for Charles Oliveira, but we have to remember how well-rounded Ilia is. He is a wrestling background. His first couple fights ended in submissions, and he recently became one of the best boxers in the UFC. So we'll see. We're in for a great fight. I think I have Ilia in probably a third or fourth round KO. I think he's going to eat up the body a little bit, defend some takedowns. He's going to end up on the ground, I do think, for a bit of the fight. Probably in the second, Charles is going to get him down, but I think that Ilia just eats him up, tears him up on the feet, and works his way into a knockout. It would be funny if we saw a submission, Ilia submission after Charles promised a KO, but we'll see. Now, next up in the fighting world, we have Tyson Fury announcing he is coming back for another fight. I think we all could have saw this coming. I mean, how many times has he said he was retiring just to come back? And he says he's looking for a third Usyk fight, second rematch, and I don't think that's a good idea. I think there's nothing. I think he has nothing, or Usyk has nothing left to prove against Tyson Fury, and I don't think Tyson Fury has anything left to give. I don't think he can win that fight. I think he got outboxed and outclassed in the ring. He almost got knocked out in the first fight. Should have been finished, in my opinion. But It didn't happen. It didn't go down like that. Now, I think the fight to make is Anthony Joshua. I mean, it's pretty obvious. These guys have been jarring back and forth for years now. It is the hometown, home soil beef that they have going on. Maybe they don't want to do it because it's England versus England, but I think it would be probably one of the biggest fights of the year. It'd probably be one of the most entertaining fights of the year. We're probably, hopefully, going to get a KO out of that. That would be great, because boxing has been a little lackluster on their big pay-per-view events. We all know what happened that weekend. Friday and Saturday, Sunday. You can't count. That Sunday fight was great. But yeah, I think Tyson Fury, he's getting a little big for his britches, thinking he can immediately come back and for an Usyk trilogy. You know, usually a trilogy you have to be 1-1, but stranger things have happened. That's Tyson Fury. That's been Tyson Fury. That's what he does. He makes some strange statements. He's a little arrogant, as I think you have to be to get to that place. And John Fury has been going off as well, talking about how they robbed him of 2 fights. I mean, come on. I'll play the clip right here.
Well, first and foremost, he had his belt stolen off him, didn't he? He had them stolen off him.
No, he didn't.
To be honest with you. And what can you say? When somebody's paid you a shed load of money, they seem to resent letting you stay champion.
But come on, you can't say he got schooled. He got schooled twice. And you know, in the first fight, he was winning in the first couple rounds, and then Usyk came back and put on a boxing masterclass for us to watch. And absolutely, he's lucky he made it to the 12th round, if we're being honest here. He should have been finished, I think it was the 9th or the 10th. He was looking really wobbled. And John, I mean, we know who John Fury is. He sells some fights, but he does some ridiculous stuff. For example, the Tyson Fury pull out of Darren Till, which in my opinion wouldn't have gone his way, the way Darren Till is looking. He's looking dangerous. But over a threat of some UFC moves being taken in the octagon, which, I mean, as Tommy Fury, I think, literally threatened to do the same thing to either KSI or just somebody. He threatened to do it to somebody else, KSI or Jake, in one of their fights. And it's hypocritical. John Fury, the flipper of tables, I personally am not a big fan. I mean, he's great at promoting. He's a great promoter of his sons. He's a ride or die parent, but he's just, I don't know, just kind of a dick, if we're being honest. And yeah, in my opinion, I don't know who's gonna win that Tyson and AJ bout. They're both coming off of losses. AJ got brutally knocked out in his last outing. So we'll see what goes on there. To me, I think I'm leaning. Oh, man. Okay, it depends if Tyson comes out in good shape. If Tyson actually locks in for his training camp, unlike he did for the second Usyk fight. We got to see him lock in and get prepared. If he's prepared, if he comes in at a good weight, he comes in ready to fight. No incidents, no cuts before the fight. I think it goes to Tyson by decision, or maybe a late finish. If he doesn't, I think he gets knocked out. I think AJ puts him down with that brutal power that he has, and probably ends his career right there. I think they're probably both looking to end their careers pretty soon anyway, so be a great fight for both of them to go out on. And then at the end of the day, they also have the winner could take on the winner of Usyk and Dubois. That would also be a great matchup. Also, there's Joseph Parker, who's waiting around right now. So we'll see what's going on in the heavyweight division. And it's a lot more entertaining than the UFC heavyweight division right now, because it's completely stalled. We've got Tom Aspinall waiting for almost a year now to get a fight. Man, that really sucks. But and then last but not least, the last thing I want to talk about today is the Jake versus KSI Twitter reignition. Come on, fight online between the managers, talking about giving us a little insight on what's been going on behind the scenes with the negotiating. Now, I think Jake Paul's camp came with a pretty good offer of 192.5, I think was the offer for weight, and KSI wanted 190. Now, there were some arguments about the actual contract that they sent over being pretty one-sided, besides for the weight, and having completely cutting out misfits out of the promotion, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. This has got to be a 50-50 promotion. And I think Mams talked about what they actually wanted to do. I think they could have a deal with what Mams proposed if they just came out and went 192.5. It's not that big of a deal. It's 2.5 pounds, about a kilo, I think. Why not? And even then, same argument to Jake's side. Why not go down an extra kilo? There's probably not going to be a rehydration clause anyway, so you're going to come in a lot heavier than KSI is going to be. And we've also got to wait for the hand surgery, so we've got some time. Jake Paul's got a good fight coming up against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. That's going to be a great match, entertaining as usual with Jake. Not the best technically, but we know what we come to expect when we watch a Jake Paul event. Great promotion, great build up. He's carrying American boxing right now, which is kind of embarrassing. But, I mean, who else is out? I mean, besides for Tank, and Tank's coming off of that questionable fight that he's got a rematch. And speaking of which, after that rematch, you could be looking at Jake versus Tank. That would be interesting, an interesting fight. I'd love to see that. I mean, a lot of boxing purists aren't very happy about it, but let's be honest. No boxing purist is ever going to like Jake Paul. It's never going to happen. Even if he knocked out the current champion, which, I mean, probably not going to happen. They have something to say. But either way, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope that these topics were interesting to you. Let me know down in the comments below. Who do you have? What do you think's more likely? A Charles Oliveira knockout or an Ilia Topuria submission in their fight? And who do you have, Jake or KSI? And that will be it for this video. Goodbye. And that'll be it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.